What happened to rock and roll? Rock and roll! That's my prop. Now, before I start here, I want to make one thing clear. Bands like the Rolling Stones, Pearl Jam, and many other bands that have been kicking it around for decades, I know they're still making new music. Stop yelling at your screen. That's not what I'm talking about here today. I'm talking about the music that's put out on mainstream radio. So since we're talking about this today, I just thought there was no better person to talk about this with than him, a drummer from an 80s hair band. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm Brian Lancaster. I was a drummer in a couple of Detroit-based bands growing up. And then...
So before we even walk in here, I want to tell you something about Brian. Brian's probably been here since 7:30. And Brian... He pulls a Robert De Niro. When I walk in, he'll be in the last booth so no one's behind him. And he can see out the windows so he can see what everybody's, what's happening. I guarantee that's what's going to happen. Let's go find out.
That they've been. We've always dreamed of making a splash.
You can say, well, I'm not going to get concerned about it. I'm not going to worry about rock music. But it affects my kids. Now, am I going to give them an open credit card?
Well, I don't like where this is going.
Kids are always looking for something different. They don't want to like what their parents liked. Look at, my parents, everything I listened to was noise. Their parents, everything they listened to was noise,
You kids and your rock and roll music, stop. I'm talking about what the Lizard King saw back in 1969, that you don't have to be a musician to make music. Huh?
Everyone was going back to their roots again. Some were going back into country and some were going back into basic blues. I guess in 4 or 5 years, the new generation's music will be heavily into electronics.
The kids are looking for techno stuff. The DJs now. DJs are superstars now. And these guys have a skill. I'll give it to them all day long. They have a skill. If they're creating something and making it happen, I'm all for it. There's just this stigma about the manufactured stuff. All you're doing is copying and pasting a bunch of stuff and layering it together to make it. So when people can do that, and then you got Justin Bieber, right? How was he found?
On YouTube.
YouTube. Has Justin Bieber ever actually written a lyric? I doubt it.
Okay, in the spirit of being factually correct, according to Wikipedia, Bieber has many co-writing credits for some of his songs. Is it too late to say I'm sorry? Moving on. Brian, answer me this. Is there a genre of music out there that resembles what we call rock?
Rock and roll, as we know it, where is it? Country's probably the closest thing to it.
Wait, what?
Name me a recent country star who wears a cowboy hat. If they're not wearing a backwards baseball hat, they're not country nowadays. It's comical, and country has entered this mainstream of pop music. What's awesome about the iPod generation is that there's a lot of kids running around now with AC/DC shirts on because they actually like AC/DC or Aerosmith or something. 10 years ago, we kind of entered this first generation of kids who do appreciate their parents' music a little bit, and it was parents that they're grabbing onto what the kids are bringing home.
Now that we're in this age of music,
Yeah.
if there was a funeral for rock today, let's say, because some people say rock is dead, but
Yeah.
let's say the funeral was held today, what would we look back on as the last great rock and roll band?
In my opinion, Foo Fighters.
Save us, Foo Fighters! You're our only hope! I don't know about all that. Truth is, there are musicians and bands all over. You just have to be a more efficient consumer. The great music is still there and always will be. Don't believe me? Go to Booze in Royal Oak on Saturday night.